Now we are learning another new element of HTML, that is forms. So what are these forms? HTML forms are used to collect information from the user and submit them to the server and process. It's even possible to process them without sending to the server. We can create our form elements using opening and closing form tags. We can also include many rich elements into the form so that user can interact with them. Let's take a look at sample form. This is a sample form created to collect some information from the user. In this form, we have this text element to collect some text. And collect a password and select an option, preferred movie genre. Let's select action and select a hobby, playing sports, and enter some details in a multi-line text input. Also, we have a checkbox element here. In this case, the purpose of this checkbox is to agree the user with terms and conditions. And there is this submit button where user can click on it and submit the data back to the server. As we can see, there are various types of elements that we can include inside a form. Let's take a look at how we can create a form to collect some of this data. Let's create a file called details.html. We open it and let's define the basic HTML tags. And here also we can include a title. We have to use the form element to create a new form. Let's create an input. We create an input using input tag, and we have to define the type of the input. In this case, we define it as a text input. And we have to give a name. And also we can provide a default value. Let's save this file and open it in the browser. Yes, we have created our first input element. In this element, we can enter some text. But apart from that, we can't do anything because there is no submit button or any other inputs that we can handle. Let's open the same file again and create another input, but this time the type would be submit. This element, this input element introduces a button that will submit this form. Right. As you can see, if we enter some information here and click submit, it submits the details entered in the box into the same page. In this case, username equals some text. Anything that we put inside here, this button submits it to the same page. Why it is going to the same page? Because in our form we have not specified another page to submit. If we have specified another page by using this action attribute, the details will be submitted there. But in this case, we want to submit these details to the same page. So either we keep it as it is, or we can put the hash letter. And also we might need to put a label to let the user know what we are expecting in this input text. In this case, we will ask the user, what is your name? We will save it and see. Yes, what is your name? User inputs Kamal, submit, and this user underscore name goes as Kamal. How can we input a password? It is also simple. What we have to do is introduce another input, and this time the type would be password. We have to provide a name, and we specify it as password, and the default value is empty. But again, we might need to introduce another label, otherwise the user will not know what to enter in these input boxes. So let's open this form again and introduce another label, password. And also we might need to insert some breaks between these two inputs. And also we might need to break the line before the submit button. Like this. Now if I enter name Kamal and password Kamal password and submit, it goes to the same page and passes the values that I have entered in these fields. But showing our details like this is not recommended for security reasons. In order to hide these values there and send the details as an object, we introduce this method attribute and specify the value as post. Now if we open this page and enter some details and submit, the information are now going as an object rather than through this URL. Now the data are hidden and even the user can't see them from the browser's web address. So what other elements that we can introduce into this form? We will introduce a radio button. Let's ask the hobby of this user. Hobby. To introduce the radio button, we have to use the same input element, but the type is radio. Name is hobby. And for different radio button elements, we have to specify different values. In this case, it is music. Similarly, we will create 3 other hobbies: books, sports, and make this the last one as other. Now, if we open the browser, you will see no labels will be visible. Now we can see 4 options for radio buttons here, but no labels to identify them. We can introduce some labels for each radio button. Label, music. Similarly, we change this one to books, this one for sports, and this one for other. Now we can see music, books, sports, and other are there. It is a better practice to let user click on the labels and then select this radio button automatically, depending on the label the user clicks. We can accomplish the function by introducing an ID to each of the radio buttons. In this case, the ID would be music. In this case, ID would be books. Here, ID would be sports. Here, other. And this ID is a unique identification mechanism for us to access each element of the web page. In the label, now if we want to select the music radio button upon clicking on this music label. We will arrange the structure a little bit. Okay. To let this radio button select upon clicking on music label, we have to specify the 4 attribute. In label, in this case, it is music. In this case, this label is for the books. Here, the label is for the sports. Finally, this label for other. Let's open it here. Right. Now we can click on these labels and select the radio buttons accordingly. That will be really helpful for the user to select the hobby without much effort. Now let's create a select element. To define a select element, we create a select element like this, opening and closing tags of the select element. And we have to specify a name, area of living. And we can give different options. The first option we provide is an empty option, and it says select area. Then we can provide other options, Colombo. Other. Even for the select element, we shall specify a label. And we have to give the ID attribute to the select element. Area of living, right? And when you open it, we can see select your area of living, and inside the select box we can see Colombo and other, so that the submit button will be visible under the select element, like this. There is another option to select multiple elements in the same select box. We will define another select box, and that select box, that select element is to select the favorite music genres. You give an ID. Right. We'll give 3 options. In this case, we will give first option as hip hop. And another option, classic. And another option as pop. To enable multiple selection, we have to define multiple attribute. And also we will give a label for this element. Right. And also finally, we will introduce a line break for this one as well. Now you can see we can select multiple elements in this select box. Let's also introduce another text box which has multiple lines. In our previous text box, the user could enter only one line of input. In this case, we call multiple line text box as text area. Text area. And also we can specify a label for this. And give a name. And also an ID. Right. And finally, we can introduce a line break as well. Right. Now this input has more than one lines that we can make use of. And as you can see, when you click on this select label, the select area gets highlighted. Similarly, when you click here, this text area gets highlighted. The reason is this for attribute. This label corresponds to this text area and linked through this ID. More details, and here also more details. We should do the same thing for these other inputs as well. For an example, in this case, this is username, user's name, and here we specify name. Here also we can give an ID, password, and here we specify this label is corresponds to password text input. Right. Let's introduce another element to reset this form. Sometimes users need to reset the form without deleting individual input elements. We can easily accomplish this task by introducing a reset type input. Save it. User can select many things and click on this reset button to reset all the elements in the form. Sometimes we want to specify the number of rows and columns of these text areas. We can also do that very easily using cols and rows attributes. Now we have created the HTML form. We could see how we can send users inputs to a particular target. And also we have observed we can specify that target by providing the action attribute. In addition to that, we could specify the way the information should be passed. There were two methods that we have used. The default method was the get method, and the other method is the post method. In the get method, the data were encoded and passed through the URL. In the post method, the data were encoded into an object and sent within the request object.